Los auténticos reyes de la cumbia, los rancheros del norte de Monterrey, México, vienen este sábado al Guys and Dolls Ballroom.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Welcome now to the Bill Mack Open Road Show. The Midnight Cowboy rides again. It'll be here till 5:30 this morning with the finest in hand clapping, toe tapping, ankle busting, Enochian country and Western Hill and folk favorites.
And I pray we shall hear your welcome voice saying, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." Amen.
What do you think?
Congratulations.
Yeah, man, thank you. Thank you. Somebody said you're going to be here.
Yeah, and you too. I knew you'd be here. You brought all your clothes. For heaven's sakes.
All my stuff.
Yeah, you brought everything you need.
I don't have any place to store it other than that. You know.
Well, I've got dibs on the second hand.
You like the boots?
No, the hats.
Which one you want?
It's the black check. Sort of
Like,
the
it's supposed to look like lizard, kind of.
Smells counting.
Which one is going to get beat up tonight?
Oh, how you doing? Huh? We had this terrific conceptual piece all figured out tonight.
We thought it'd be good if we could somehow get something going where it'd be a fist fight break out here tonight, and we're just trying to pick out the guy we want you to
Okay,
whip
wait a
up
minute.
on.
Let's
now,
find the guy.
Now, I've seen 3 that I don't like so far.
Where's your stuff? You know my stuff. You see it. That's a sea otter. Yeah, that's incredible. That's a sea otter with a gift in her hand. Looks like a cat to me. Yeah, it could be a cat. Look at the stuff under here. See how soft and fuzzy that is? Yeah, and it's got the whiskers. Yeah. It's got a little whiskers there. Yeah, it could be a cat. Yeah. But it's really not. It's a sea otter. That's a man shoveling fire right there. I know, but anyway, I really will get it. But what I want to tell you about is I'm going down to my daddy's Monday, and I'm gonna cut this big tree down. It's falling across a creek. I'm gonna cut it and I'm gonna drag it out with a tractor. Bring it home and I'm making a piece of sculpture out of it. And it's gonna be called. It's gonna be called Blind Bear Holding a Crooked Stick. I'm gonna give you. The tree's still alive, but what's happened is that the creek has washed out its roots. See, it's washed underneath it, and the tree's now kind of bent and fallen over the creek. Now, I've never walked up on a bear in the woods, but I've seen pictures of bears and things, so, you know, I just kind of felt like that log was it, that the bear was waiting in there for me. So I just dig him out. So it was a big buzzard roost back here. We used to slip down here when we were kids and shoot at the buzzards with 22s. We never did hit any. Well, once or twice maybe we did. Look at that tree. That's going to be the finest tree. Just absolutely perfect. Now, I'll tell you what I think maybe we should do is we should kind of start cutting up here.
Yeah, get this stuff.
And get this stuff cut down to where we'll get it cut to about
After
here.
you get this cut, kind of cut out of your way, and we'll drag it out with tractor. Then you decide how you're gonna work your big part of it. And you do the cutting, and we'll do the dragging. Cause we ain't nothing but loggers. I said Craig and Jeff was with me last year, and Ox McClendon was loading some logs over there with a horse. And I stopped and let them watch him. I told him, I said, y'all get a good look at that, you'll never see it again. And I just thought he'd never see that in a lifetime. Most likely, because it's loading horses, it's just the thing of the past.
planning on walking down there and just getting on top of it and cutting it. But see, my blade won't go all the way through it. So
you don't have to get in the water. There's no two ways about it.
That means I'm going to have to get in the bottom somehow. Let me just go down there and look at it. See what it...
There's a big moccasin down there, though. You're going to have to get him out of the way.
Yeah. I might get him out of the way with a flag.
You're going to bust your ass on that sliding when it's what you're going to do. You want to go down and let me hand you the chainsaw?
No. God, how'd you like to be stuck out here all day listening to them damn locusts? Oh, boy, this thing is enormous on this end. It's just enormous. Well, I'll take this thing right here and give it to Bob Wade. Make a little art out of that. Right. Well, I think we're in trouble. I think that log, that whole end's rotten, Johnny.
Oh, no.
I really think it is.
Down there where you cut?
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to drag it out and look at it. I got to find that other chain first. I might have to go back up there to my truck to get it. Wait, here's a big piece.
I'm glad I'm a painter.
Well, I'm very sad. You have to listen. No, I can get it. This one, that one you got there.
Well, here's another little one here.
I'll take those.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, take it out. Make a hog trough out of it. I don't think it's going to make a blind bear, unless I call it blind bear with a big rotten hole down his back. Too bad. Well, screw it. Let's take it out and see what it looks like. I've been drinking muddy water out of a holler log.
Lemon design, you couldn't hold that and use it.
Well, not for this piece I want to make now. I couldn't for the bear. I could do it for something else. I could just wait and save it, and I'd have to kind of reorient my thinking on it. But for the piece that I want to make now, it's not any good.
Yeah.
I mean, it needed to be solid.
Yeah.
God, is it such a beautiful shape, though. You don't think Joanne's gonna have a planter box made out of it if we leave it, do you? I'm just going to have to go look for another log, that's all. You don't know there's another big old log about 3 foot curved across the creek anywhere.
What about them logs that's back the other way? I saw that were dead, and those trees that were dead.
There's another one out over there, but it's only about that big around.
Yeah.
But it's about 50 foot high.
Yeah, well, I got a, is it dead? How come you think Cleveland left this tree here?
I imagine because it's hard to get to back in this thicket. That's the only reason I can count for anyway.
Well, it's got a good shape. I kind of hate to cut it, to tell you the truth, but the other one was in the ditch and it would be all right. But well, I think what I'll do is I'll cut it off. I'll cut that limb off, and then I'll cut it again right up there.
And just take it in one log?
And then just take the whole big thing in one length. That's really going to be a killer. That's a good one.
Ugh.
What would you give for a big old cold Dr. Pepper right now?
How about a cold 6-pack of beer?
All right!
Down the road, saw a little pretty girl down the road. Down the road, saw a little pretty girl down the road.
All right, cut it hard.
I'm gonna set it down right there with that. I'm gonna put these blocks on it. Spare not gonna be as tall as I thought it was. I don't think it's gonna be but about 8 feet. The only art book we had in our house was an Audubon book. We had a book of Audubon's, you know, rabbits and moose and deer and things like that. And that was art. But real artists, I guess everybody thought of artists as a nut kind of. You know, you're either a queer or you're a, you know,
well, that's
or
different.
something.
Like you started using your hands and being able to make something that you conceived of, whether it was a fence post or a table for a barn or something, so that when your head got to the point where you were thinking about so-called art, you really had an ability to go out there and just know how to use tools.
Right. Like me and my older brother and my daddy, with a cross-cut saw, sawed all of the timbers down that made all of the paneling that went in our den. It was all cedar. Yeah. And we built that house. I mean, I just kind of grew up building and making things, you know, and using logs, like making a pole barn out of logs. But at the time, Jesus, God, I hated it. Oh man, in August you're digging. Sure, it was work. It wasn't art, it was work. And now I do the same thing and I call it art, and so I don't really consider it work.
Well, that kiln's just like your stove. You know, I mean, the more velocity that you have going up the chimney, you know, the harder it fires. It just makes the flames go through there faster. So it's just a matter of it didn't get hot enough. And I guess it just comes from old age in the kiln. And the kiln's got that kind of personality thing that you can't ever really say one thing or the other's the matter with it. It's just, see, the body's mature, but it's the inside, the glaze isn't melted and stuff like that. It just needs to go probably like 200 degrees higher.
Oh, I see.
And it just got to be like an economical thing. You know,
It takes too long to get it hot.
Yeah, start firing 24 hours or something, you start using too much gas to make it worth the money.
So when are you going to put that chimney on?
Oh, I figured a week.
That's nice. I love that speckled stuff in there.
Yeah, speckled stuff comes in early in the firing. It's just irons in the clay.
Looks like a bird egg. I need what's known as a helping hand here. Let's mash down on this thing. I'm going to just kind of ride on this side.
You haven't got her straight up and down there, have you?
Oh, that's good, though. Just kind of ride down her.
One day.
Why don't we just go ahead and put one more in and then let's go eat? I'm about to starve to death. You know, there's a lot of talk now about so-called Texas look or Texas art, and I'm kind of scared of any kind of look. You know, whether it's the Texas look or the California look. I think part of the drawback to California art is the fact that you know it's California art.
Don't you think all that comes about from like, we'll say like a New York look would come like there would be like one genius would kind of come about, and then there would be like one genius would have a following. Say like Rauschenberg would come along, and there he'd be, and then there'd be people that would be doing his kind of art, and then, you know, maybe somebody like Poons would come along, and there'd be a bunch of people following him. So all of a sudden you get, I mean, it's still a personality thing, but it just so happens that all those guys live in New York. And
I guess that in a way the artists in Dallas are still isolated. So
yeah,
to
I mean,
speak.
nobody's been really put on a pulpit yet. I mean, you know, nobody, there's not a genius yet.
I just don't want to, I don't want people to look at my art and say, oh, he's from Texas. They can look at me and say that, or they can hear me talk and say that. That's okay. I mean, I am from Texas, but I don't necessarily want my art to be that closely identified with the Texas look to the point that it gets categorized, and then it simply doesn't have meaning anywhere else except in the region. Down the road, gonna go walking on down the road. Oh, it's perfect. Today, what I'm going to talk about is where images come from, where you get them in the first place. Would somebody mind coming up here and pushing these buttons when I say push it? All of these pieces are made out of wood. I'm a wood carver, if somehow have forgot to tell you that. Push a button. This piece is called Shannon's Secret. Shannon is my daughter. She's at the age where she loves secrets. So this was like a magic box to keep her secrets in, which are probably some of the most important things in the world. Push a button. This is called I Saw a Man with Bats in His Hands and 3 birds stuck in his head. At this point, I'd kind of had decided that it was okay to make something that was nuts, so to speak. It's okay to do it because it's sculpture. See, it's just art. It's not real. So it won't really hit you on the head or anything.
Well, now you finished it, and it sits here in the San Antonio Whitty Museum. There are a bunch of people looking at it. Does it look the same to you as it did when you first created it?
Well, I don't know. It'd be awful hard to answer that objectively. You know, I mean, I have a. It's done. You know, it's through. It's finished, and it's gone. And it's like in my mind, I think I've kind of already quit dealing with it. You know, I just can't do that forever. So at some point, I quit thinking about it, and that's the way I feel about it. You know, it's gone.
Letitia, we're so glad to see you tonight. Well, the least you can do is say hello.
I think she should powder our nose with her
Letitia.
little crochet sewing.
The least she can do is talk to us.
I wonder who did her permanent.
I don't know, I think her hair is colored.
I think we have some very strong artists in Texas, don't you? Well, very strong.
What's happening? Are you lost in this maze?
They just get real serious. They're kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, you know. They're really into pictures.
That's an automatic.
Yeah, that's a machine gun. Funny, it's good.
Oh, that's good.
So I blew that up a couple of years ago, and then came back and put that color on there. We stop and visit those guys every time we go through there because they're just so outrageous. You know, they're just so nuts.
That's the reason they get that. They sort of fall out of the canvas, and but that's not about you. What are you gonna do next?
I'm working on what's called the Great American Rodeo exhibit. That's gonna. She's gonna do it.
She's gonna do it. Right through. Go on. Another step. Another step.
I wondered when somebody was going to do that. That's all right, you know.
Well, she's participating. She feels
if she participates hard enough and pulls on the deal, it'll all come down on top of her. I don't know why they're so amazed about the material and everything.
It's on everybody's back.
It's in everybody's home, you know.
I think it needs a little glitter on it. I mean, I think this was a very plain period in your life. You're more exotic these days.
I was still married then. It was kind of depressed. I was holding back, you know.
Well, don't you think the abstract painter...
You feel sorry for yourself. Syndrome. If you split with your woman, you've got to feel sorry for yourself. You know, it's like when you really feel sorry for yourself, you're going to go put on some sad music. You're going to go, you like it to, it's nice if it rains and gets sort of drippy and drizzly, and you have some sad music on. If you got a lot of bills on the table that you've got to pay for, the worse the better. The sorrier you can feel, the easier it is to get over a split up between lovers. Pretty soon, people get tired of hearing agony and agony and agony and agony and agony and agony and agony, and it gets to a point where it becomes agony to listen to it.
I think like when I living in West Texas, the weather was so dynamic that it sort of made people weird. The weather's abrasive. In West Texas, it's kind of abrasive, and you have to sort of really hold your own or the weather will wipe you out. And it's a good reason to maybe get abrasive with your art, I don't know. Whereas maybe in some parts of Texas where it's real consistent year-round and real mellow, like here in Houston, it seems like a lot of the painters do real consistent kind of mellow, even pretty kind of paintings. And the further west you get, the work seems to be, to me, a little more abrasive. A lot of people think of this kind of material as being cheap and gaudy and ugly, but it's so much a strong part of our society that to me it's kind of interesting, particularly when you put it all together and isolate it. It has a sort of a bittersweet feeling to it. I got fascinated with with tombs I saw where they had the little cameo pictures of the people that were buried in the grave, like the cowboy in various facets of his life, getting decked by another cowboy and sitting with his sweetheart. And the boots and the cowboy skeleton are sort of Hollywood, kind of glitter and gaudy. The whole thing's like a grand statement of gaudiness. These are the ones, I guess, that people are objecting to.
Yes.
I really can't see how anybody would have thought of these as being pornographic, though, because they're not. I don't know. It seems like if something's really that funny, I can't imagine somebody getting up in arms about it or offended, because if it's funny, it's funny. They could find some more hardcore material in their local 7-Eleven. It's all the same. Hell, you can even find this in Lubbock or Amarillo. You know, it's just the same everywhere. It's just all of the American cities are going to be just prototypes of each other. They're all going to look the same. It's very disturbing in a way to me.
We're going to have L.A. from sea to shining sea.
That's right. Astro Pimple. Astro Hall, Astro Dome, Astro World.
This one, this one, this one, this one. No, this one, that one, and then that one. This is the latest one.
You can see why conceptual art, considering the number of galleries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and the few number of artists that one found in New York City, that you'd have a great number of conceptual artists. Conceptual art is basically bullshit in Texas.
It's a lot easier for me to function out of Texas than it would be in New York, but some people advocate that it's good to go somewhere where it's hard to function because it'll make your work get better, or you have to hustle more or whatever. But we have to hustle enough down here because we don't really have that much support.
The reality is it's a bunch of people working in Texas that are serious and they care about what they're doing. George Green, James Searles, Bob Wade, a lot of people. James Hill, they're doing things that they feel serious about, and nobody has ever paid any fucking attention to them, ever.
Economically, it's much easier. In the last 6 years, they built 8 major new museum spaces, and they haven't filled them. And so there's that sort of vitality. And there is the economics.
The reason I came to Texas was that I thought that the artists in Texas were more intelligent than the average number of artists that you would normally find elsewhere.
What does victim mean? It means that I've split up with another girl recently that I liked very much, and the reason I split up with her was because she seriously listened to all the bullshit I've been giving her for the last couple of years. It's like liberal bullshit. If you follow what I mean, it's like, you should do what your heart tells you. To do what you feel like doing. Do what your heart tells you. Do what your heart tells you. If you do what your heart tells you. If you meet somebody and you like them, do what your heart tells you. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out the man-woman relationship. I still don't know. Maybe I'll never know. That'll be okay. The more mystified you are, the better it is. Oh, back to it keeps coming back to me. It's that old magic. It ain't what it used to be. It's old black magic. And it's only your mother could take your life and put it together in such a nice stenciled
Look
out.
at all those nice cutouts.
See, vacations and everything here is cut out and put down. Mount Vernon, Colorado Springs, New Mexico, Juarez, Missouri, Colorado. The thing about it that was interesting, I didn't know anything about the blacks, the Chicanos, because we were very carefully kind of segregated from them until we went to my mother's hometown in Roswell, New Mexico, and the whole neighborhood was sort of an interracial neighborhood, and I really enjoyed some of the Chicanos, some of the Mexicans I met, because they offered a whole way of life I never thought about before, and I loved it. I ran around with Raymond and several other people, I can't remember the name, and when my mother found out I was running around with the Mexican kids, she freaked out and that's my '51 Buick. See, I nosed and decked it, put it in a DeSoto grill. I made up the hubcaps. It was a Buick Special. Oh, I get good special. But that was a fine car.
These are the guys from your high school?
Yeah, this is the group that I ran around with the whole time in high school.
What'd y'all do when you went to Mexico?
Everything we could, because there was no restriction. There was no limit on drinking, and there was no limit on dealing with women or anything you wanted to. And part of the problem was like growing up in the 50s in West Texas, nobody would do anything. They were trying to be too middle class, and we'd go down to Mexico to get exposure to the way life was.
I am.
We can leave West Texas and become a man. You know, we got to go to the south border to prove our manhood. That's what this is all about. Is that there's an early sketch? Isn't that grim? It's pretty bad. My folks never said anything about it, but I know that they didn't like it too much because it's. You know, in that part of the country, if you studied art, you were kind of a faggo or a wimp or queer. You were called a queer. They never called me queer because I was their son, you know. But it was kind of a struggle the whole time, and I spent about 5 or 6 years trying to convert my family and the people back in West Texas that art isn't representation. Art has a lot to do with idea, and yeah, it did have a lot to do with idea as long as it conformed to their idea, you know. And so I gave up on that later on and just realized that you're not going to change somebody's idea. You can just present stuff, and maybe if you're lucky, they'll change. I don't know. I would like to demonstrate that I can be a virtuoso singer. When it's time for fun, dancing around the polka, folks for miles around, come to town, join in the roundup polka, people by the score, dance for 3 or 4, yippee-yi-yay, so bring your lady, bring your lady, bring your lady home, when the roundup polka.
Hey man, how you doing? Well, I'm just trying to get it together to get on the road. I'll probably be gone about a week, something like that. Got some things down in San Antonio I got to pick up, and we're going to go down to Austin and see those people. Oh, I think I'm going to probably put them in 2 shows. There's one in Fort Worth coming up, and then I hope to take a lot of this stuff up to New York. There's a thing at 112 Green Street. Yeah, I'm just going to put up a whole wall of stuff. So that's what we'll do. We'll be gone about 4 or 5 days. I'll give you a call. Okay, bye.
Is Robert ready to go, do you think?
James, look at that picture that I found. That's the one that Parnell and them gave me, that original.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see him probably.
Oh, it seems to be signed, too. I never noticed that.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Let's go, let's go.
Texas tornado, I don't wanna die. Texas tornado.
The last review, which came out in Art in America, referred to my work as being consistently macho kitsch. This critic named Clement Greenberg, who's like always been touted as the great elitist, formalist critic of New York City, in 1939 wrote an article about kitsch, tawdry, mass-produced, touristy type of crappy items, right? He was simply laying out philosophical points about the concept of kitsch. And that's basically then what I do in terms of all of this stuff that's down here. It's just good material to talk about. And that's all we're doing. We're just talking about it. James, we're going to head on down here to Jernigan's Taxidermy. Remember Byron Jernigan? You've been there before.
Sure. See those jackalopes.
Byron will stuff you, put together a jackalope head for you, or maybe an armadillo, javelina. I'm going to ask him if he can put together a stuffed mule. See, watch that truck turn. This is two-way right here. You better help. Just go on.
What's two-way bullshit?
It turns to two-way right there. Right there it starts. Right there it starts two-way. He's getting it all fixed up now. Let's get him this. Got it fenced off. A little tableau. What do you say, Byron Jernigan?
Hello, Bob.
How you doing?
All right.
Good to see you.
What do you mean, how did you sit?
Oh, just, we're going across the state right now. Trying to pick up some things, do some more shows. I'm gonna take some of it to New York City. What do you think they'd like to see up there?
I don't know. What don't they have up there?
Well, I don't know. They've got a lot of stuff. I don't know if they've seen the stuffed raccoons ass. Huh? How outrageous would it be to do a mule? Could that be done?
Anything can be done. They have a donkey down there in San Antonio.
Oh, there's, yeah, donkeys around.
I've never heard of a mule being mounted.
I think that'd be good.
You got a use for it.
How much would it cost to go through that whole thing? You know, to
mount a mule? Probably run you around 1,800, 2,000.
Have you got access to many armadillos right now? I mean, just to where you could mount them? Can you get hold of them pretty easy?
This time of year, you can't get them at all.
Really?
They're just, well, you can't find them.
What time of year can you get them?
Well, if you're looking for them, you can't get them at all. If you're not looking for them, you get them in the fall. Oh, let's see. Here they are back here. Here's a small one.
Oh, that's nice.
Looks a little bigger one.
Are these just what, shot with a 22 or something?
Oh, 22 or shotgun. That's shotgun there, see, it makes much of a hole.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Here's a bigger one. I got 2 more back there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 in here?
Yeah.
That's one's a big one too, isn't it?
Yeah, there's one real big one there.
5, and then you got one outside, that'd be 6.
6, right.
That'd be pretty good. Yeah, those are real nice. I like your little one a lot.
Here's skin for a jackalope. A couple of them.
2 jackalope skins, ready to go. Okay.
Anything else?
Got you some big old fish. I like those, the armadillos I think are the best. Okay. What'd you tell me about that buffalo, like it got hit by a car or something?
Got out on the highway at night. Girl in a Pontiac hit it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a deal on that. I need that real bad. What will it cost me?
Oh, I don't know. What's it worth?
You would have to pay about $35 for a big longhorn deal.
Yeah.
With a set of horns and a big skull, big one.
I don't know, worth 25?
Yeah.
You don't run across a buffalo skull every day.
No, I think it's nice.
And then all too soon.
The difference between satire and irony and humor in the Texan's mind is very fine. He'll say one of the most bizarre, gross statements in the world with that real straight face like Byron Jernigan, and you don't know whether that guy is really serious and like really kind of obsessed about those fucked up armadillos laying in that freezer.
How did that coyote? That's
Or
excellent.
whether the guy really kind of is laughing on the inside about it. I mean, you know, when he's selling deer heads and armadillos to the Japanese. Now, that's the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. And I know that he knows that that's funny. But he doesn't just sit there and laugh all day about it. Yeah, that's good, isn't it? What are you doing there, man?
Starting that curl in there. This machine's about 70 years old. And they quit making the electric ones in the 40s somewhere.
Well, then that rolled brim has been around a long time too, hasn't it?
The rolled brim.
Is that what's called a high roller if it's rolled?
Mm-hmm. When I got out of the service, Dad wanted me to come back in the hat business with him. And instead of coming in the hat business, I went and
wanted to go in the insurance business. He said, "You're nothing but a damn high roller. You want to go drink coffee with all these women? I know you." So for my birthday, he made a hat, a traditional gambler style hat, like this. Except it was in a light gray, and just wrote in the front of it, instead of my name or anything, just wrote in the front of it, "High Roller," as a joke. I got to where I was selling more hats than I was insurance, came back to hat business.
Okay, I'm a big, ugly, tattooed son of a bitch.
That's the most beautiful letter in the world.
What kind of a hat did you make that guy?
We made him a black beaver derby with a tulle leather and a silver and turquoise hat band on it that would just knock you off your feet. You could not believe it.
Did he really like it? Did you get any more correspondence from him?
Oh, God, yes.
What do you think? Does it look pretty good?
Fine. Thing about as light as a feather, anyway. Those are good.
Yeah, that's nice.
Cool hats.
That's got it. That's it.
When we dance together, my world's in disguise. It's a fairyland tale that's come true. And when you look at me with those stars in your eyes, I could waltz across Texas with you. Waltz across Texas with you in my arms. Waltz across Texas with you. Like a storybook ending, I'm lost in your charms, and I could waltz across Texas.
I'd say maybe 10 years ago, this cross-current thing started happening from Los Angeles to New York, and Texas is caught in the middle. The people in Texas probably know more about New York and Los Angeles art than either L.A. knows about New York or New York knows about L.A. In other words, we'll take a lesson from both sides and then go and do really what we're going to do anyway. There's the entrance right there.
Everybody's ready. Are you ready?
He can run. Hey, he runs better than he can run.
Beer's right over here. James, beer's 2 tickets, man. Get us some tickets. We'll get us a couple cold ones.
I told you.
Well, just get them.
No, I wouldn't eat any rattlesnake meat on a bed.
We got 2 booths. One of them is mounted rattlesnakes, and here's fresh rattlesnake. James, come pay this guy for some fresh rattlesnake. You gonna give us some of that? How does it come?
Or you can have little 25 cents worth would be 3 or 4 little ones.
Well, we got a man that rounds them up over in St. Savage. Got about 3,000 in the pen right now for us.
3,000? So you just take them out whenever you need them?
We need them, yeah. We go in there and pick them out as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
Just go along and pick them out.
Do a lot of people
pick out the biggest ones we want.
Do a lot of people eat it?
Yeah, a lot of people. It's getting to be something that people really want to eat rattlesnakes.
They do want to eat it?
Oh yeah. A lot of people are doing this for mostly for health now.
Why is that?
It's supposed to be something to cure cancer and stuff.
Oh, that's good. He's got 3,000. Where can I get about 50 rattlesnakes? Just display?
From him?
Dead ones? I just need, I don't want to cook them. I need to hang them on like a fence or kind of a rod.
Yes, sir, I can tell you about these rattlesnakes.
Did you fix them?
These came from South Texas, most of them off the King Ranch. And Starr County, Duval County, Freer, Texas. We make the hunts every year and we buy these snakes, and I also catch them myself at night. We go down and drive the country roads and catch them at night. and I claim to be the best snake mounter in the United States, in the world, pardon me.
Woo! All right.
Put the lime in the coconut and drink it all up. Put the lime in the coconut.
The Arabs wanted to buy the Alamo. It was a sheik or somebody who wanted to just move the whole thing over there for his son. But the daughters of the Texas Republic couldn't see fit to do it, so a fellow down in Bracketville, Texas, where the Alamo Village is located. That's the duplicate of the Alamo.
And where they shot the Alamo with John
Wayne. They said they would sell him that one. But he wouldn't go for it. He wanted the real thing.
What? What is this shit?
Para pa acá! Para pa acá! Para pa acá, hombre! Anda, hombre! Para pa acá! Oye, hombre!
Besame mucho.
Para pa acá! Para pa acá!
Put the lime in the coconut.
Mel Casas, this is Bob Wade. How are you doing, man? Are you up yet? I got James King with me. We had to come down to San Antonio to get some material, man. But I wanted to get together with you. Why don't we see you around 3 or so? Okay, man, good. Later. Bye. A lot of hippies on the road?
Especially Oaxaca.
Oaxaca has
See how
wealthy
Marcia
hippies.
ignored that?
Driving Cadillacs?
No, they don't have to. They got credit
They've
cards.
got
They can do anything.
all leather backpacks.
This one had a kind of a billboard thing for me, but it also had that whole, South Texas idea.
Well, then, in a sense, they take off on the idea of an homage to Cesar Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
And in working with this particular painting, I was involved very much with the idea of not only with the image of Chavez, but also the amount of sacrifice from the man for an idea or an ideal. Strangely enough, the ideal seems to be somewhat almost passé. In a culture in America in which we're trying to get away from being middle class, he's trying to make the Mexican American, in quotes, middle class.
Yeah.
In a culture where it's more profitable to be very rich or very poor and not middle class, he's trying to get him to the middle class stage.
Mm-hmm.
But in a sense, since the agrarian Mexican worker or Chicano worker or Mexican American worker has not been there, he feels if you deny him that stage of development, that he's being denied. So he has to go through that stage.
Yeah, that's good. I remember this one from a few years back. That has a more specific kind of Texas kind of idea.
In a sense,
it doesn't seem to be as scary as some of these later pieces.
well, it's scary in a different way. It's scary in what it implies, and that is that if you wanted recognition, especially in Texas, you have to paint the kind of paintings that the Texas audience wants. If you don't work within this given criteria, you cannot function. But the criteria they're giving you is all that is all passé. Texas tends to have an inferiority complex. It has a lot of wealth, but it always looks to the east for enlightenment. Maybe that's where the sun rises. And so therefore, if you rely on Texas to sell your work, or make a living out of it that way, or, how would I say, for recognition, it's going to be very, very difficult, because Texas plays it safe. If you recognize this artist that have made it somewhere else, then they feel obligated to acknowledge those people. I guess if I were in New York, I would probably paint somewhat differently. I would, because I'm very socially aware of what's happening. But as far as painting where I am, I'm not affected. I'm not restricting what I paint. As long as I know that my paintings are mine and I don't have to sell them, and I cannot sell them if I wanted to. So I don't have that problem.
It's like taking a cold shower, says English painter Bridget Riley. A shock at first, then it feels good. Riley's first attempts to rise the eyeball from visual complacency in the U.S. in 1965 evoked a warning from one art critic that Riley's canvases not be hung eye level in anyone's living room unless covered with a curtain. Now back in America for her first show in 7 years, the 44-year-old Riley proves that op art has outlasted its period of vulgarization. It's the most successful show we've had all season, says Sidney Janis, New York gallery owner. At prices up to $22,000, we've sold every painting but one. Roll up that window.
Let me put that window up a little bit. How's that? Huh? Wait. There, that's good. Okay.
I come from Texas just to shake glad hands with you. I come all the way from Texas just to shake glad hands with you. Yes, but when I see it in your smiling face, I didn't know just what to do.
Are they pumping it up with a motor over there?
Hell no, it's coming out of there and he's pumping it over his house from this rig.
Yeah.
It just flows.
Drink some of that. That is nice. Still got that squirty dog of yours over there?
Come on out of there, dog.
Is it loaded, Aubrey?
Yeah, it's loaded. Go ahead and shoot it.
Well, let's get up here where we can do some.
It's loaded. You want to shoot it or something? You want to throw the can out there? Let's over there. Shoot that. Yeah, let's neighbor. Kill a neighbor. How's it shoot, Aubrey? Pretty good? Pretty good? Your thumb may get burned where you know you're okay. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Choose where you hold it. Let me put it that way. You better kick that empty out.
Used to, you buy dynamite easier than firecrackers. Now,
Is it tight now? How about this string stuff? Was it any good? This coil?
Still get it real quick and easy, but it's just.
How big of a hole in the ground?
Driver's license now before you buy it like.
Can we make a pretty big hole in the ground out here?
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful. This wide angle shot.
You want to put your hat back on?
Well,
or should I put it in the car?
Yeah, I'll put it on here. Let me get this going.
Everyone has their favorite guns.
We're going to pose after this.
Yeah, you all stay still for a while because I want to get a couple of color slides too.
Okay, just a simple pose you can hold for a few minutes.
Okay. Holy Christ. Woo!
Mix ingredients well. Pack into greased half armadillo shell. Bake 350 for half an hour.
Remove foil and bake for another half an hour.
Yeah, okay, mix ingredients.
Pack.
Into.
Greased. Half.
Greased. 1/2.
Of an armadillo shell.
Yeah, that looks good. Mix ingredients, pack into greased 1/2 armadillo shell, cover with foil, bake 350, 1/2 hour, serve 6 with homemade gravy. Perfect. This might look pretty good on you. Yeah, this is nice. Bailey, you roll it. Let me see.
I think he's gonna look good.
Might be a little bit small, but no, just right, man. Fantastic. Look.
That's it, man.
Look. Good. Good. Here's a combination RCA.
Is this a two-head?
Bull rider.
This the five-legged beast?
Well, you know, is it 2 calves with
5 legs
or 1 with 2 heads? You know, I don't know.
Listen, I've been very disappointed in. I was in Amarillo. No, listen, I was in Amarillo, Texas, and being a native New Yorker. This is a year ago. Before
You ought to know better to go to Amarillo.
Well,
Texas
no, but
if you're a
this,
native
yeah,
New
I know
Yorker.
that.
You heard that they were buying art down
no,
there,
that's the
and you
greasy
could do a
part of the
piece, you know.
Amarillo. But before I met Bob in Texas a year ago, and somebody said, come and have a classic dinner at a classic Texas ranch. And I said, hotcha, man, they're going to have the beef and the whole number. So I get out there and I figure they're going to schlep one of these cows right into the house, bop them over the head, cut them up, and throw them in the frying pan. And when I'm in the kitchen, they're taking steaks out of packages like A&P.
New York steaks.
It blew my whole bubble.
New York meat.
I really wanted, you know, that somebody to bring them in, bop them on the head, slice them up, throw them in a frying
It
pan.
shows you can't get what you want.
Well, see, if you had
Not
told
even
them,
in Texas.
if you told me you're from Waxahachie, they would have done that, but you're from New York, so they want to, like, play that thing out for you.
Difficulty in breeding occurring only when the female antelope sleeps on its side. Oh. That's not true.
Well, you have to read this one first to believe it.
The other one.
Yeah. Also often called the antelope labbit. Most amazing of all desert animals, is reputed to be a cross between a jackrabbit and an antelope. Rumor has it that the jackalope sings at night in a voice that sounds almost human.
Esta es una invitación de Gabriel Salinas para este sábado en el Geisen Ballroom. Precios con...